Hi everybody, I've decided to make a video for um, YouTube about my attempts at airbrushing. I made mention it about maybe one or two of my other videos, so I thought I'd give a quick little recording of some of the things I've done. I had recorded the audio with the airbrushing at the time, but as you can imagine with loud compressor, it was cutting in every now and then to recharge, and it obviously threw all the audio out. Plus the airbrush itself can be quite noisy depending on what you're doing. So this is a bit of a voiceover, so it's probably going to be a bit disjointed, but bear with me. So I've got running in the background some of the recordings I made while airbrushing. So I'm still reasonably new to it. I've only got about 15 hours playing around. I've been lucky enough that at work they've got compressors that I've been able to hook up an airbrush to and give it a go. Because one of the big things about this sort of equipment is you can't really demo it. I've not found many places where you can say, look, can I try an airbrush with a compressor? Just gives, say, 2 to 4 hours to find out if it's something that I want to try. Before forking out that £80–100 even for a cheap airbrush and compressor set. And of course with that sort of kit you don't know how long it's going to last. And even if you buy it with the intention of if it works, it works. If not, then oh well, £80–100 is still a lot of money, especially with the cost of models and paints, and you want to get your cleaners and your thinners, and it's a big expense. So I've been quite lucky that I've used the compressors at work. And you'll see in the background that I'm handling a lot of the model parts by hand. Fingers eventually get covered in paint. I did make sure that if my fingers were sticky, I didn't handle the models, because I didn't want any fingerprints smudging up the details. So I did have that. But something I've tried that hasn't been shown is I've started drilling and then using paper clips that I'll just put a bit of super glue on to then hold the piece, and that lets me handle it without handling it, if you know what I mean. Something I saw another YouTuber advise was bamboo sticks, because then you can pop it into a bit of upright cardboard or a bit of corkboard or something, and then it's not resting on a surface to dry, it's upright. That seems like quite a good idea, but again it's something that I'll learn about. So the thing I've found with airbrushing is it's a difficult thing to know where you're going wrong, because is the paint too thick, too thin? There's things to watch out for, like speckling and I think somebody called it spider webbing, where if the paint's really thin, it'll just like push out in random directions, much like a spider web. But the tip getting dry and then clogging up and then getting bad spray, so you're picking the end of your needle, and it's like, okay, is that because the air pressure's too high? Is it too low? Is it a combination of the paint's too thin and the airbrush pressure's too high? It's a really big thing to learn about, and even with the 15 hours I've been able to rack up at work, is still a lot of unanswered questions. And the other difficulty is to know, because it is an industrial compressor, how much moisture is making its way through, how much oil is making its way through the airline to there, which that could be affecting the paint. And also, there's the taking care of the compressor. I mean, I don't know when the compressor was last drained or anything like that. With it being a workplace thing, it's not something that I can dabble with. It's they have their routine. I'm not going to interrupt with that. So I've because I've played with it enough, I think I will get a compressor. I've had an eye on a Bambi, very low noise compressor. They're saying around about 40 decibels, which is similar to a fridge. And it sounds promising. I'd seen some of the compressors that are on places like Amazon. They're saying that the low noise between 50 and 57 decibels, but it's hard to understand how companies like Bambi and that are charging £300 plus for a low noise compressor, and then they're on Amazon they're only charging 80. And it does sort of ask the question, well, you know, is it a low use one? Can you use it for a bit? It's got a small tank, so even though it'll be filling up the tank, which you'll then use for airbrushing, if it only charges up to 4 bar and at 3 bar it switches back on a 3 litre tank, it is really quick to get down that 1 bar. So that's when you're looking at the motor will be working a lot harder. Is it a cheap motor? Is it going to wear out after just, well, a few hours? And a low number of hours, as far as I'm concerned, is 200 running hours. I want something that's going to last, so unfortunately that does point towards a Bambi. And also going off of the 3 litre tank, I'd argue that going to either a 15 or a 24 litre tank, especially since the price increase on the Bambis isn't that much for a larger tank. If the motor runs for, say, 3 minutes to charge up 24 litres, or it runs for 2 minutes to charge up 3 litres on a poxy little cheapo model, the Bambi motor will be running a little bit longer, but it won't be running, it'll have a long breathing time in between sessions of generating to cool down, and hopefully that'll make the big difference. But, you know, it's a gamble, as with all these things. You don't know how good something is until you've got it in your hands. But if I do get one, hopefully I'll be able to get set up, maybe make some more videos where I'm actually working on stuff in front, and keep you updated. I did try a power sword technique. I've seen a lot of YouTubers doing it, and you mask off half the blade, airbrush your colours, mask off that half and reveal the other, and then you again do it, and then it'll give you the offset blended, you know, looks awesome effect. Now what I've done is very simple. I've not masked it off because I'm still playing around with the masking side of things. But with the Forge World clear coats, what I thought I'd do is, if I was to use the primer and then put on a bit of black to try and blend it over, and what I eventually did was put a bit of black into the primer as opposed to just pure black, it came out with quite a nice effect, because when I went over the blue over everything, it did have that nice transition without having to get 3 different blues out and put a little bit of spray on, a little bit less spray on and stuff like that, because I'm still quite new and getting accuracy is quite a challenge. But hopefully with a compressor that I can set up myself and take care of myself, I'll be able to learn those techniques, and I'll have more confidence that I'm not getting oil and moisture through the line. So hopefully in front of you at the minute you'll see the swords that I worked on. I tried a few different lightning effects, and hopefully I'll get a proper video up to show you the techniques. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.